Becky, and I'm back with another video for you guys. This video is going to be things that I learned and accomplished in 2014. And of course there's more things that I accomplished than this list, but these are just the main things that, looking back on the year, that I actually thought that stood out in my mind. And some of them are silly and stupid, and some of them are kind of big and monumental, but I wanted to share that with you guys just to kind of go over my year, what it's been like, and I just thought it would be a fun video to share. So the things that I learned is Etsy is an awesome home decor website, and maybe I'm the last person to jump on the Etsy bandwagon. If you don't know, Etsy.com is a website where people that make things sell them on the internet. And it's kind of like having your own little store without having to set up your own website and all that stuff. And I knew that Etsy existed, but to me I was always thinking like, I don't know, just homemade things that I really wouldn't be interested in. But what I have really found it to be useful for is artwork, especially with my kids. We had a hard time finding artwork for their room that matched their color scheme, and then we also really are like monogramming things and having things monogrammed for them or personalized things, but they both have kind of unique names which are spelled uniquely, and so we have never found anything that has ever been spelled like the way we spell their names. And so it's really hard to find things that, it's really hard to decorate when you want to put their names in something and nobody spells the names that way. So that's kind of where this search began. When I was redoing my second daughter's bedroom, we wanted some artwork in her room that matched a specific theme, and then also some that had her name on it. So I found a couple really good shops on there. You can look on there once you get to Etsy and search like personalized artwork and different things like that. But I have found some adorable artwork that came from there that I never would have thought before, as to shop there as a home decor website. And then I ended up finding some stuff for me, so I've gotten some bracelets from there before. And I'm planning on getting some little charms to go in my origami owl locket necklace. They have a bunch of people that sell those. So that's just something that I discovered this year that I have really enjoyed shopping there. Another thing that I learned is you can cook bacon in the oven. In the summertime we love to have, we just call them bacon tomato sandwiches because we leave out the lettuce, but a BLT sandwich, and it's so hard to cook bacon. It pops all over you. It makes the kitchen smell like bacon for like 3 days. And it's a mess. So I have learned to cook it in the oven. What I do is just put it on a lined pan in a 400-degree oven that's not been preheated. Just set it at 400 and then put it in there for about 15 to 18 minutes, kind of depending. And you have to play around with it a little bit just based on, I guess, the type of bacon you're using, and also that, how everybody's oven is different. But that has been a nice way to cook bacon without making a mess all over the kitchen. Another thing that I had learned from shopping at Whole Foods is they offer what's called case prices. So from what I know, every item they have has what they call a case price, and that's how many of an item you can buy and it's considered bulk, and you'll get a discount. So in our case, at our local Whole Foods, the bulk price for milk is 4 gallons. So 4 gallons, once you buy 4 gallons, you get, I think it's 10% discount. It's not a lot, but every little bit, saves, and every item is different. So you'll have to check with your store to see what the bulk price is for each individual item. But that's something that I learned that was kind of helpful, and over time has saved me quite a bit of money. Another thing I have learned is about myself, and it's that I'm a runner. And coming from somebody who is not athletic, is not sporty, I could care less about watching sports, I could care less about playing sports, and who got an F in gym class my senior year of high school because I did not want to get sweaty in school. And I had it at the beginning of the day, and I didn't want to get all sweaty and then have to go through the rest of the day sweaty. I didn't want to take a shower at school because, first of all, there wasn't time. Second of all, it was just weird to shower at school. And so I would never, what they call dress out, I would never wear my gym clothes. And so I would get an incomplete for that day. And then after the year went on, and of course I was a senior, so I had to pass that class to graduate. And I got an F, and I had to beg my gym teacher to give me a D so that I could pass. So, that's not good. And then in elementary school, we always had the 1 mile day where you had to run a mile just out of nowhere. It wasn't like you trained for it. They just said, okay, run a mile. And I couldn't run a mile, and I would always hide. I would run around and get behind the baseball dugout and hide and try to catch my breath. And the gym teacher would come and kind of flush all the kids out that were doing that. That's the kid that I was. And to be a runner now is so funny. It's so unlike me, but I love it. And it's not like I'm a marathon runner. I'm not. I'm training for a 5K. But considering where I came from, where I couldn't even run for 30 seconds in a row when I first started, to now where I'm training for a 5K, and then eventually I would love to do a Princess Half Marathon at Disney World. That's kind of my goal in the end. But the fact that I am running at all is amazing to me, and that's something that I learned about myself this year. I was kind of excited about. Another thing that I learned is Urban Decay Primer Potion works a little bit too well. I love it, and I have gotten a lot of my friends hooked on it, and my mom, I think I've gotten her some for Christmas or something before. But I couldn't figure out for the last couple years, I was like, why am I having so much trouble putting eyeshadow on? I thought it was because I was getting older, and I am getting older. But I thought it was like, oh, my eyelids just must be, getting droopy, or the texture's changing or whatever. It's because of the primer potion. It's so tacky and sticky, which is great for making eyeshadow last and look more pigmented. But it also makes it where I cannot get it to blend. And so that is one thing I have figured out. And as soon as I stopped using that and using some other things, then I have realized, oh, it's not any harder to put my eyeshadow on. It was because of the primer potion. So if I do use it now, I go ahead and put it on, and then I put more of a water base, kind of a more of a softer cream base on top, like a Maybelline Color Tattoo or a MAC paint pot or something, just because I do feel like it does help with the longevity, but it just makes it so tacky that my eyeshadow does not blend. So that's one thing I learned this year, which is kind of random. And the last two things that I learned that were notable is how to clean a textured bathtub. I have a textured bathtub in all of our bathrooms, but it is so hard to get that thing clean, and I don't understand, like, I don't get it. It's horrible. I hate it. I hate scrubbing it. Every time I would have to clean it, it's like a big ordeal, and it hurts your fingers. You're hunched over the tub. You're trying to scrub it. Your hands are hurting. I have found that using a mixture of Dawn dish detergent and vinegar, just plain vinegar, mix them together, and it works on the walls too to help get rid of soap scum, but it works so well on the textured tub. I just go ahead and spray it on the tub and let it soak in for a couple minutes. And then I just gently wipe it with either a toothbrush or a Mr. Clean sponge, kind of whichever I have handy. And if there's a couple stubborn spots, the Mr. Clean sponge will come in handy to get those out. And then also I have a Rubbermaid Sonic cleaning brush that I use to get into the little indentations and all that stuff. But it has made my life so much easier. And if I can find the recipe for the cleaner, I'll link it down below. But it's just, it's simple, and it's a lot less toxic than scrubbing bubbles and spraying all that stuff into the air, because it's just dish detergent and vinegar. So that's, obviously much safer than a spray kind of a cleaner. So that's been really awesome and saved a lot of time. And then the last thing is, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos, is my youngest daughter has a Leap Through GS and a Leap Pad, which are both Leapfrog products. And you can buy the little game cartridges, and they're usually around $25. At best, you can get them for maybe $10 if you get it like on a Black Friday sale or something. But they're most of the time $15, $25 a piece. So I have found that buying the Leapfrog download card for $20 is a much better way to go than buying the cartridges, for several reasons. Number one, I have always seen that $20 card at Amazon for $14.83. So first of all, right off the top, you're saving, almost $6. So that's a savings in itself. A couple times a year, Amazon usually has a coupon code that takes an extra $3 off, so you'd be paying $11.38 for a $20 game card. And you can catch it on promotions at different places too. Like recently, Best Buy had it on sale for $15. Actually, no, they had it on sale for $10 for a $20 card. And then I had a $5 Best Buy gift card, and so I used that gift card on the purchase, and I paid $5 for a $20 download card. Another reason it's really nice to get the download card is because if you have the game cartridges, you have to worry about keeping up with them and making sure your child doesn't lose them. And if you have several game systems, maybe you don't have the cartridge with the game system that you want to play it on. And so it's nice to not have to worry about the cartridges, because all you do is you go ahead and complete your purchase online of the games. And they have the same games online to order as they do, the actual cartridge. And so you log into Leapfrog Connect, and there's an app store, what they call it, and so you can download apps and full games. So the apps are usually like shorter games and things you can't find on an actual cartridge, and then they do have the full games as well. The neat thing about shopping that way is because let's say you've already saved and gotten a $20 gift card, let's say for $10. You've already saved $10 that way. And the Leapfrog Connect store has coupon codes pretty much all the time that are at least 25% off, 20% off, 40% off, that you get to use in addition to the money you've already saved on buying the card. So you get a lot more games for the money, and you don't have to worry about losing the cartridges. So I really, really love that, and that has been an amazing thing to find out, just because those games can get expensive, they can add up, and I don't like having to worry about where the game cartridge actually is. So she only has 2 games that are actually in cartridge form. Everything else is on the app, from the App Store, and then not the iTunes App Store. Everything else is from the Leapfrog Connect store, and I don't have to worry about it, and I can load it on both game systems, and it's ready to go. So for accomplishments, the main thing was that my older daughter was baptized this year. She was actually saved year before last, and we were kind of in between churches. We didn't know where we wanted to go, and I felt like I wanted to baptize her somewhere where we actually felt connected to the church, not just somewhere, any old place to do it. And since we didn't really have a church home at that time, we kind of waited, and so she finally was baptized this summer, and that was an amazing deal, and that was really exciting for us. We did also decide to homeschool. I didn't realize it was this year. It seemed like a million years ago. I cannot believe it's been this year, but it was, I guess in school terms, it was last school year. When she was in 4th grade, we actually pulled her out of public school and decided to homeschool, but as far as calendar years, it was early 2014 that we actually started homeschooling. So that has been a huge process. First deciding to do it, going ahead and doing it, and kind of figuring out what, all the different things there are to figure out when you homeschool. Just logistically, where are you going to do it? What are you going to do with your other kids if they're not homeschooling yet when you've got this other one that is? So many different things that were kind of coming at me at once to make that decision. Once the decision was made, it made everything else a lot easier. I had to break it down. Like I mentioned in my goal setting video, if I had sat there and thought, we're going to homeschool, that's a huge, monumental undertaking. And it can be very overwhelming, and it was overwhelming, but I basically just set myself down and thought, okay, we can do this in steps. We can break it down. And the good thing about homeschooling is you can be as involved or not involved as you want to be. Obviously, I'm not going to sleep all day while she does her schoolwork, but you can teach as much as you want to, or you can find programs that will literally teach your child on disc if that's what you choose to do. It's not right for everybody, and it's not what we do. We do a little bit of both. But the information is out there if you're willing to research it and find out what the laws are in your state and what they require. What kinds of curriculum are out there. And you can watch any of my other homeschooling videos and kind of find out some information about that in some of those videos. There's co-ops that you can join and include some socialization into your day with your children and extra classes they might not learn about at home. Things like that. But it was a huge undertaking, a big decision, and I feel like it's one of those decisions that as soon as I made it, I realized it was the right one. That feeling in itself kind of made the whole process seem easier, just because I knew I was doing the right thing for her and for us as a family. And so I was able to relax a little bit more and think, okay, we made the hardest parts over, making the decision. That part is over. Now the rest of it we can figure out, and as we go along. And so that's been a big decision. And as I mentioned, another big deal this year was finding and joining a co-op. There was a lot of research involved in that, what kind of co-op we wanted, what kind of classes we wanted them to have, where we were going to have the co-op. Were we going to pick one just because it was at the church we already attend, or we were going to go to a different one? So finding a co-op and going there has been a huge accomplishment and a huge blessing for us. Another thing that's kind of random is I this year converted all of our old camcorder tapes to DVD. My oldest daughter is only 10, almost 11, but in the process of her growing up, we've already been through, I think, 3 or 4 camcorders, and the technology has changed. We first started out, it was a Sony Handycam, and it used the little tiny, what they were called high 8 tapes. And you have to put them in another kind of a converter to put it in a VCR. They're too small to fit in a VCR. And yes, we still have a VCR, but I wanted to back up all of these things because, those things don't last forever, and I wanted to keep them backed up on not only a disc, but also the external hard drive. So if you watch my picture and video storage and organization video, you'll see I mentioned how I converted everything and how I'm organizing everything, but I wanted everything to be on 2 copies of disc, so I have an original and a backup of a disc. And then I have, of course, the original source. In this case, the high 8 was what it came from. And then I have it all also backed up onto an external hard drive. So I did that for all 3 camcorders. We had the one with the high 8, then we had the one with the discs, and then we had another one. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, it was a very large undertaking. She's almost 11, and we've had stuff since right before she was born. So, 11 years of home videos, and I'm the type of person that recorded every little thing that the kids did. So I had a lot of footage, but getting that all converted over It was a huge job and a headache because I am not techie. I know nothing about anything when it comes to technology. I had to learn myself and teach myself how to not only figure out the software that I needed, and each camcorder was different. They all required different processes to get the information from the camcorders and the discs to my computer so I can burn it to a disc. I mean, it was a huge headache, but the fact that I was able to figure it out and do it successfully and get it done in 1 year, to me, is amazing. So I was pretty proud of myself about that. I also caught up on all my photo printing, organization, and labeling and all that stuff. I was 2 or 3 years behind on getting pictures printed and then filed, because I keep them all in photo albums. And I know putting them in a photo box would be a lot easier, but I don't like doing that. I like putting them in an actual album. And it really got a lot harder when we got our Canon Rebel, because the one we have does not have a date feature. So once you put it on the computer and you print it out, there's no date. So you have to kind of, when you get behind and they get out of order, you don't know what came first, this thing happening or this thing happening. And it drives me crazy to not exactly have those in order. But I did the best I could. I would guess based on like where we were or how old one of the kids looked, or whatever. To try to figure that out. And that's one thing. I don't know if the new Canon Rebels have a date feature or not, but I really wish that they did, because that's a huge downside for that, I think. But I got all of them finally printed and organized and put into albums. I got all the albums labeled like number 1, number 2, number 3, because they were starting to get out of order in my cabinet. And that's a video I can do in a separate video if you guys want to see it. I have a cabinet at the end of my hallway. We have a really long hallway. At the end, there was like this really awkward space where there was nothing. And so we built in a cabinet, and I used that for all of my photo or album organization. So if you want to see that at some point, I can show you. But I got that done, and that was a big deal for me. Another thing that I was able to do this year was to learn how to use iMovie. And I am certainly no Steven Spielberg. I think I mentioned that in one of my other videos. But when I first started this, I did not know how to use iMovie. And I wanted to use it for personal use to make different things with our home movies. But I also wanted to learn how to use it for YouTube, because I would just film a video with my phone. I didn't know how to edit it. All I knew how to do was trim the beginning and trim the end. That's all I knew how to do. So if I messed up, I couldn't fix it. If somebody walked in the room and interrupted me, I couldn't stop, because I didn't know how to go back and like edit the two pieces together or to clip out things. So learning that has been really fun, and I learned that from a free computer class at the library, which I mentioned in my yearly favorites video. Our library, and I'm sure most libraries, have all different types of computer classes you can take. Photoshop and Illustrator and iMovie and iPhoto and GarageBand and iBooks and all these different things you can learn, and it's free. And so I took a 2-hour class, and by the end of that class, I knew enough that I could actually do what I do now. Is it great editing? No, probably not. But it's more than I knew how to do, and it's something that has helped, I think, my YouTube channel a lot, because I can film videos in pieces if I need to, and I can insert things. And so it's been really fun, and I really enjoy using iMovie. It's been surprising to learn that it's actually fun. Along those same lines, I did reinvent my YouTube channel. If you had watched any of my videos back from the beginning when I first started my channel back in the summer of 2013, they were all haul videos and couponing videos. And while I still love couponing very much, it's gotten a lot harder since we use pretty much all organic food. The only thing we can really extreme coupon on, I should say, is toiletries and things like that. But once you get your stockpile built so much, and there's only so much room to put these things, you kind of get to a point where you're like, I cannot buy anything else and have room to put it, even if it's free. So we're kind of at that point right now, giving a lot of stuff away just to try to make room, because it does become a bit of a storage issue. But those videos pretty much now, I mention couponing things here and there, like with the Leapfrog Connect card and things like that. I mean, that's kind of a couponing sort of a thing. But I didn't have any videos posted to my channel for quite a while, and then when we started homeschooling, things changed, and I would just kind of film videos from just behind the camera showing different things. And I have really enjoyed building my channel and connecting with you guys and sharing things with you all that are important to me, because I feel like if it's important to me, then there's probably a lot of other moms and women and people out there that it's important to as well. So that's been really fun, is kind of reinventing my YouTube channel. And along the way, the technology that I have learned with iMovie and PicMonkey and all those different things that I can use to add and to enhance my YouTube channel. That's been really fun. Another thing that has been a huge accomplishment this year is losing, so far, 27.5 pounds, 28, kind of depending on the day. But that's a big deal for me. That's the most weight I've ever lost. And, and I would consider that baby weight, a lot of it. I mean, I had my youngest daughter is 4, but I never lost any of the weight after she was born. And then I had a couple medical issues, and so I had some surgeries, and so things just kind of snowballed, and I had gotten a lot, quite overweight. I was the heaviest that I had ever been back in the summer of last year. And I just didn't feel good. My clothes didn't fit. I didn't want to buy anything new because I didn't want to, buy new clothes at that weight. I was just really unhappy and miserable and had no confidence. And so losing 27 pounds has been a huge deal this year. March of 2015 will be 1 year since I started my weight loss journey, and hopefully I will continue to build on the success that I've already had and manage to keep off what I have already lost, and then even become more healthy through more strength training, running a 5K hopefully next year, and just doing things like that, incorporating new exercise videos and things like that. And that leads me to my next point. Was I took a Sky Zone SkyFit class, which, going back to what I said about gym class, I am not a public sweater. I like to work out at home. I don't like going out in public and flailing around and getting all sweaty and being embarrassed because I'm very uncoordinated. But a Sky Zone recently opened up here in my town, and we love it. We used to go to the town, we used to go to a different state a couple hours away and take our kids. We'd go shopping and we'd take them to Sky Zone because it was so fun for them. We had never actually jumped there. And I knew they had aerobics classes, and I thought that'd be really fun. And when I found out they were opening a Sky Zone here in my town, I was really excited for them to open. But I didn't think I would actually make myself go to a class. I thought it would be fun to incorporate that into my weekly workouts, just to add some fun and some difference and some, a new experience. But I didn't actually think I would do it. And I did. I took my older daughter with me. We've gone to probably 4 or 5 classes now, and it's hard to go because just the timing that they're not the best times for my schedule, but we've been quite a few times. We went actually the day before Christmas Eve was the last time we went, and it's just really fun. And they say you can burn 1,000 calories an hour. I guess that's true. It just depends on how hard and heavy you go at it. I wouldn't say that I burn that much, but I definitely get out of breath, and I definitely sweat. And they incorporate some strength in with it as well. You're not just jumping up and down, constantly the whole time. You'll do some sit-ups and some push-ups, and they usually use some resistance bands, off the trampoline. You go and do some resistance band work, some some exercise ball work, different things. And it's been really fun, and taking my daughter with me has been fun because now that she's getting older, there's more and more things that she's able to do with me. So that's something fun we can do together that I would definitely encourage you to check into if you have a trampoline park anywhere in your area. And the last thing is I set up an automatic withdrawal from our checking account this year to put into a special savings account just to save for a house. We do want to move here in the next year or two, and I kept thinking I would just save 10% or 20% or whatever every check, but it just got to the point where I was always like, well, I don't have the extra money this month or whatever. But I think taking it out that way with the automatic withdrawal, it kind of forces me to not even have it in my hands, because if it's in my hands at all, I can always find another purpose that seems more important to spend it on. Go straight to that designated savings account, and I don't have to touch it. And so I had set a goal this year that I wanted to save $20,000 just specifically for our house savings. Now we're going to need more than that, obviously, but I wanted to save just that much in 1 year, and I'm only a couple $1,000s short, so that's pretty exciting. I didn't actually think that we would manage to do that either, so that's been an awesome accomplishment this year. So, and then just 3 fun moments, just kind of highlights. We went to Disney World again. We usually go every year. We went again this year in the spring, and it's really fun. And last year we went twice. We went in the spring, and then we went again at Christmas. So that's not something we're going to do all the time. And if I had to pick either Christmas time or springtime, I would still pick springtime. It was neat to see it at Christmas and all the decorations and things, but I just thought it was cold. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a wuss, but I thought it was cold at nighttime, and I was struggling a little bit with that. So if we go back at Christmas, it'll be when my youngest daughter's a little bit older, so that she can remember more what happened, and then that's probably all that we'll go at Christmas time. Another thing that we did was we went horseback riding with the whole family this year. My kids have never been horseback riding except for the occasional pony ride at like a petting zoo or something. This was the actual first trail ride that we went on. My youngest daughter rode with my husband, and my oldest daughter had her own horse, and that was pretty awesome. And I hadn't been horseback riding since my husband and I were dating, probably in 2002, maybe 2001. So it was really fun. It was something we did as a family. It was quite expensive. I was surprised. It was like $130 for a 1-hour trail ride. Thought that was kind of expensive, but it was a great memory and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And then the last thing is kind of random, but anytime we go to IKEA, it's a great experience. The IKEA is, the closest IKEA to us is about 2 hours away. And so we always drive up there. We go out to eat somewhere fun, and going to IKEA is like an amusement park in itself. There's so much neat stuff. And so we went up there on my birthday this past year, and that's when we bought the homeschool desks, which are over here. And you've seen those in the homeschool desk tour if you've watched my videos about that. But that was a really fun trip, and like I said, we're going to be going here in the next couple weeks to buy the shelf that's going to go over there, and so that's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that, and it's really fun once you go to IKEA. It's kind of addicting because you always find something new every time you go in, and it's so inexpensive. I like, how do they make things so inexpensive? And for the most part, they're really good quality. So those were my highlights and accomplishments and things that I learned for 2014. Let me know in the comments below some things that were big for you this year. Well, not even big. If it's big to you, I'd like to hear it. It doesn't matter how insignificant it seems. I'm interested to hear what some highlights are from your all's year and what are some things that maybe you learned over the year. Please like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.